Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to another vlogging on the go video. And I'm fresh off of doing my tour, walking around Crescent Heights in my old high school and in surrounding neighborhood. Well, I decided to come back to Dr. Oakley, as this school definitely will always have a special place to me in my educational journey. And I explain, if you know me, considering I didn't move much in my childhood, that I went through a lot of schools. And this school definitely, I'm going to say, looking back, as I attended this school starting in 1991 to 1994, it definitely is special because it definitely really helped on my educational journey, because I actually have a learning disability, and I was diagnosed with a learning disability in my childhood. I can't exactly know exactly what it is. It's a combination of things, and it's a complex issue. But why this school is special to me is that this school is actually special for special education for students with a learning disability. And definitely I feel my educational journey when I was here was a big part of where it got me to eventually, let's say, Crescent Heights High School and SAIT, where graduate from electrical engineering technology. I mean, this has changed a little, but this is the front door of the school. But just walking around, this school looks exactly how it did back in 1991 to 1994, but not the surrounding area. I mean, I'm on 20th Street Southwest between 37th Avenue and up to 40th Avenue. I'm just south of Marda Loop, and boy, that neighborhood has changed. I'm just going to walk around. I think I could just walk around the school in one shot. It's a much smaller school. I remember this school used to be a junior high school, and it definitely changed to, it serves grades 3 to 9 age right now, and a special school for those with learning disability. But it had smaller class sizes, and I know, looking back on my educational journey, well, seeing this window right here on the basement level, I had a class in there my last year that I was here in Dr. Oakley in 1994, before I went to Calgary Smart, which I eventually went to Calgary Smart, which is you could say, the school that if I had a regular journey, I would have went to Calgary Smart for several years, all my elementary school days, and then eventually went to Dr. 8, but then Crescent Heights. But I was here for 3 years, and looking back, I say it definitely played a big role in my educational journey. What put me on? I mean, I'm at this end here. I was going to pan around here. This is all new. None of these homes, there were homes here when I was going to school, right here. But the big thing that really has changed in this area since I left here almost, I guess it'd be 27 years ago, back in 1994, that nearby here, and this is the community of Altadore and Calgary, or South Calgary, and Marda Loop, that the Canadian Forces Base, the CFB Curry Barracks, which now that community is a community, a mixed residential community. But in 1998, the CFB pulled out of Calgary, and I think the closest one from here, from Calgary, is now in Edmonton, Blatchford. But I remember all this right here. We used to kind of have that war era homes, because not too far from here is the military museums near Mount Royal University and the former Curry Barracks. So I'm going to continue walking down the playground here. I mean, I think this playground has changed a little, but one big thing, you can see these patch of trees right here, and I was here back in 2003, and I knew at this event when my mother, she worked at the CBE over the years as a teaching assistant, and that's how I knew about this event. But they unveiled an amphitheater, which I'm going to get around. That this was unveiled in 2003, and it was kind of a reunion. And I say, getting back to my educational journey and smaller class sizes, I did also feel that a lot of if you look back on your educational journey, you always get like those special teachers that you always remember. And definitely had some special teachers that I had over the years when I attended here. I think because of the smaller class sizes and just my unique educational needs. But yeah, you can see this amphitheater right here. I mean, this wasn't here when I was going to school starting fall 1991 till spring 1994, before I eventually went to Cappy Smart. And my age at that time was I could have gone to junior high, but I decided I wasn't ready for that yet, so I went to Cappy Smart for a year. So if you're watching this and you're wondering how come you didn't know about me much until Cappy Smart junior high, even though I always lived in Marble Park, this is part of the reason. That it's just my special educational needs that I need. And I was in special ed classes, even the school before I came here. That's James Short, and I'll eventually do a vlog there. But yeah, this is a nice view of the back of the school and with this amphitheater. And then another thing that I also notice, that is in this corner back in the park there, that's what is not there anymore that I do remember, is, given that I mentioned that this school and this community was near the Curry Barracks, which used to be a former, or now it's a former military base. I remember it used to be like a 30-foot tall air raid siren in that back corner there. It's gone. It definitely had that war, silver black look. I remember that, and I was kind of, what the heck was that? Kind of looked a little scary at the same time, but you gotta remember, this used to be a military base nearby, and I mean, that's how I kind of describe these homes in this back area. But I also do remember, I guess when you're younger and small, I remember this place was bigger. But also I should touch upon that Dr. Oakley, the name of the school, looking on the CBE website, that it was named after, her name was Geraldine Oakley, and I guess she was used to be the health minister for the Calgary Board of Education, and then eventually became the assistant health director for the city of Calgary. I think that's kind of a quick version I skimmed over before this video, but that's who Dr. Oakley was. So that's the school's named after. And it mentioned that this school was dedicated to her in 1960, and I think that sounds right, because I don't know exactly when this school opened, because I do remember this being kind of those older schools that I know that this school eventually got converted to a school with people with special educational needs, because there was a mix of because I do remember being in school with younger kids and then teenagers at the same time. Like, there was a bigger age range in this school than you get at a elementary, but you can kind of see this is kind of cement park playground here. I know these ball things are new, but I remember coming in and out of these doors. I know here, I remember in this wing, it was like some kind of administrative area, but all this was classrooms here, and I'm just gonna walk around. But actually, here in right in that corner, my second and third year, I was right there where I had my classroom, and I'm gonna work around where I remember I had my first class. But this is definitely, the surrounding area has changed. And there'll be another thing that I'll share that it still remains. There's the old ice cream shop. It's actually called my favorite ice cream shop, and it has that classy shop name with the PPE. That is still there, and I think I'm going to check that out, because I do remember going there a few times when we were going there as a group. But another place I remembered, in that little strip mall that's just south of here, used to be a barber shop too. That no, it's not there anymore, but there used to be a barber shop too that I remember, that when we sometimes go there as a group, a few groups, that the barber shop actually had pop, like we call it pop up here in Canada, a soft drink that some call soda. But I remember that barber shop had pop, and we always talked about what flavor we're gonna get this time. Oh, these memories. I mean, I was here, like I say, I was 9 to 11 years old, and special education, and I mean, I remember the teachers, and it was actually satisfying that my mother, when she worked at the school board, that the teachers that I had, that she was able to email them, tell them that how I was doing, especially after when I graduated from SAIT. So I'm just going to keep working my way up. That I remember having a class in the library was around here when I was going to school at the end of gymnasium too. I mean, my first year back in 1991. But I also remember some special guests that we were able to, that came here to talk to us in assemblies. I do remember there was one guy, I think his name was Michael Pollock, and he, this is where I had around where I had my first class, the library of the school. There's the gymnasium, and let's see if I can still share this, but we are called the Eagles. Let's see if I can get this on the video here. I still got my pin. Dr. Oakley School, Dare to Soar. I do remember this being in the center of the gymnasium. So yeah, I still got my pin when I went to school there in the gymnasium in the center. But I remember Michael Pollock was here. He ran across Canada, and the reason why he came here, he only went to 3 schools because one of the teachers that taught here, he had as a teacher, as a student, that he came here. And I do remember Grant McEwen, the former mayor of Calgary, was here. And at that time he was in his late 80s, and he definitely was a passionate guy. I think he also used to be Governor General of Alberta as well, because Grant McEwen is the same Grant McEwen that used to be mayor in Calgary. It has a university named after him up in Edmonton. But I remember he was here. I remember that guest as well. But those are the 2 biggest guests that I remember when I went to school here. And then being that we were near the Curry Barracks, the former Canadian bases that it's no longer here, we had lots of soldiers that came by to talk about Canadian war history and their training. So I also think because I went to school here and being near the Canadian Forces base that was still active at the time, I mean, you can see this has all changed. And I'm planning on walking around Marda Loop to show how much has changed since I went to school here, but almost getting back to where I started, as it's not a big school. I figured I could just do this all in one take, walk around and share stories. But I do remember lots of soldiers talking to us, and I do remember when I was being bused here, and there were definitely a lot of long bus rides that went on, because this is the farthest away from home growing up from Harbour Park that I went just to go to school. So there definitely were a lot of long bus rides, and seeing different parts of the city, how much it's changed. But I also remember bus rides on the way here going through the Canadian Forces base that you see the soldiers at that time, going through their training. So it was an active, military base that is nearby here. And I think part of that was getting more appreciation what the significance of Remembrance Day is. And then field trips just before Remembrance Day, we walked over to the military museums nearby here as well. So that also was another part of my special education, because nearby. And then I also remember, they taught us more about the environment. But I'm always going to say this school right here is always going to be special to me because of how much it meant to go along my educational journey. I had a learning disability, or I guess you could still say I'm always going to have a learning disability. It's always going to be with me, but this school definitely was a big part of helping me along with my educational journey. And well, it wasn't perfect. I never had a straight A student in that, but it looked like that what I did here, maybe someone thought my journey would have eventually meant I would have went to Jack James, because I know that high school is actually closer to where I live. But I know that that's another high school that some go to that has special needs. But I did well enough here that I eventually got into the regular school journey and had to work much harder and grind at it, but I'm going to say I don't think I did too bad for myself for graduating, from Crescent Heights High School, which I'm glad I did because of my family. Many members of my family did, and still really looking back. And I'm also going to say no promises or guarantees, but I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, no promises or guarantees. There might be some dialogue that I might actually get to go inside the school, Crescent Heights High School, and take some pictures and videos in there, and that would be awesome. But I just think when I did that, I just had to reflect on this school because it definitely helped along with my educational journey. And then, of course, I graduated from SAIT in electrical engineering technology in 2006. Of course, I had to work harder just to get through school, and then had to take one of the hardest programs at SAIT, so I guess nothing ever comes easy, but it's satisfying that I've done. So I'm going to say, considering I went to school here starting 30 years ago, and then 1994 when I left here, that I went to Cap Smart. And oh yeah, this is not the school where that hilarious lunchroom story, it was James Short, where that hilarious lunchroom story happened that I made a video on already about the time I farted in the lunchroom. Because I remember I misspoke because I was still at James Short and not here. But yeah, this is definitely going to be always a special school in my place because what it meant to my journey, and my educational journey could have been different. Who knows? But I just took every class at a time and the best I can. But I know that a lot of my special teachers, I remember my first special teachers were right here, and I also do remember at this time my hardest death that I had to deal with was when I was going here, when we had to put the family dog down. That's why I like border collies, and that's when I learned, before I was 10, that dogs age at 7 years age. That they explained why Titan the dog, that the teachers explained that to me too, and grinded through that. And then of course it is, the rest is history. But this is always going to be a special school to me. But hopefully you enjoyed me walking around the school, take some more pictures. But I am going to walk around Marda Loop because reflect on how much that place has changed as well. So anyways, like I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel. And I know that teachers and students also remember me being a big sports fan back in the day, back when we only had the Flames and Stampeders, because the Roughnecks and the Hitmen weren't a team yet when I was going to school. But I also do personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experience with the same on the road or at a sport event, and just vlogging on the go. It's definitely been a great chance for me to get out and share my journey and kind of share it in with from a sports fan point of view. And when athletes say, especially if they know they're a great athlete, and they ask them, what do you think of this accomplishment, that accomplishment? It's like, this might be something I can't really appreciate now, and I'll look upon when I get older. Well, this is kind of the same thing with my educational journey. I mean, I just, took everything as it go with my educational journey, but as time has gone on, I definitely appreciate my educational journey a lot more, and there was definitely family involvement during my journey, especially when I was here, and definitely thankful for that during that time. And I'm just looking back that I think I had the most personal growth from my my elementary school days right here, and I think it set up eventually. Wasn't easy, wasn't perfect, with when I went to 1 year at Cap Smart, and then 3 years at Dr. Aber, and eventually at Crescent Heights, where eventually it's been 20 years since I graduated from here. So yes, so as I say, it all sounds like the interesting to watch to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. I mean, just make sure you hit like and subscribe. So yeah, and this is panning around. This is along 20th Street Southwest. It's not the same place as I was, and looking down towards Marda Loop, but I'll get closer there. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and I dared to soar. I dared to soar, especially after when I left here, and I'm going to say I didn't do too bad for myself, graduating from SAIT with a learning disability, may I add. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.